Welcome back to the SMITE Minor League. Finch here. I'm joined by Tom F. Battinger as we move into the North American side here for the SMITE Minor League, which has actually been, pretty competitive aside from Armada for the most part. Armada are way up at the top, but everyone else has kind of been going back and forth. So it's definitely been pretty exciting. The matchup we're going to look at here, this is Armada going up against Spacestation.
Spacestation actually on the way up as well. We've seen them actually find a win. They've been kind of unwinning so far, but they had been unwinning in the past, but recently hitting their stride.
Able to get a very important win. Let's get the standings up. I want y'all to take a look at where everybody's already shaken up here in the standings. Armada, of course, up there near the very top, and Space Station able to find their first win quite recently. But like I said, a bit of a clump there between Sanguine and Cryptic to try and find out who's going to be in that second place spot.
Yeah, Armada is 7-1 right now, kind of significantly on an island by themselves. Space Station Gold 1-7, as I said, on the upswing though. So I'm interested to see realistically standings. Probably going to stay similar to what we just saw, but I'm interested to see gameplay-wise how characters kind of shape up and ship up.
Yeah, we expect for Armada to be able to grab this win, but I don't know. I mean, Space Station have, found a win very recently. These teams are looking better. I do have to let y'all know, though, that unfortunately it looks like that this first game did have to be forfeited by Space Station. They weren't able to have everyone there to get going right at the start of it, so we'll be starting technically with game number 2 with Armada already having a game 1 victory. So, yeah, Armada already up 1-0. Other than that, there have been some changes with the roster, it looks like. It looks like Scream won't be able to be here either. Homie is in there in the jungle role for Armada, but Snoopy, Geno, Meerkat, Baskin, everyone else is there.
Homiefe is certainly not a slouch in the jungle, so he'll be stepping up. SoloOrTroll is also going to be making a showing as well here for Space Station Gold, so very eager to see how this draft works out. Yeah,
I think he'll be in for Maddie, who was out of town for a while as well, so I think he played last week and this week for them too, and he looked good in that spot as well, so I don't know, man. This Space Station team with SoloOrTroll in there, they've looked pretty good. I don't know if this is maybe as free for Armada as they might be expecting, especially if they have to make some adjustments in not getting to play with Scream. As good as Homie is, and Homie's very good, I mean, even Energy, where like when we got to have someone, they'll pick him up. It's just hard to equate yourself to Scream. I mean, that guy's such a unique presence on a team.
Yes, absolutely. I won't disagree. However, Baskin still exists, and Baskin's still on that team. Arguably the best player in the world, still playing down in the minor leagues. It should be all that Armada need, and the rest of the talent on that squad should be all that Armada need to kind of carry themselves here in game number 2.
You're right. They have Homie back, or not Homie, but Snoopy back as well. They were missing him, I think, during the week where they got that one loss, and they had to go without him as well. So they have shown some vulnerability when the whole squad can't quite be there. But I agree. I wouldn't make an excuse for it, not with a team with this much talent on it. I mean, Geno is still there for this team. He's been able to make big plays for them out of the support role as well, and Homie is certainly strong enough in the jungle. Now, there is some question about Meerkat, though, right, and some focus put on him. There are some times where you can feel like Meerkat's a little bit along for the ride with some of these other all-stars. I mean, Meerkat's good at Smite, too, but, I mean, he's not top-tier SPL level like some of these other guys are, right?
He's national champion.
Yes, that is true. He is a national champion, and no one can take that away from him. But maybe some questions there on if maybe that's somewhere where Space Station can look to try and exploit.
Not a bad look, absolutely. And as far as when you're looking to exploit, I don't think it's necessarily exploit Meerkat in the mid or exploit the sub in the jungle. I think it's exploit the lack of communication between the mid and the sub in the jungle. Look for Meerkat, sure. Look for Homie, sure. But look for some sort of breakdown in that duo to really kind of find that Achilles heel.
And Space Station are a team that can get that done. If you think that Armada has some big names, well, so does Space Station, a team that's certainly stacked with some talent. That's why we've kind of been scratching our heads a little bit about why this team hasn't been able to get all of this together. I mean, Mast is on this team. Chapo, also currently a world champion. He won down there on console. And they even have SoloOrTroll stepping in for them as well in the support role. So this is a squad with players that we all know are mechanically solid. It's just a question of how well can they play together. Can they line up all those puzzle pieces into a puzzle that is capable of beating Armada? Unlikely, but certainly something they can do.
Certainly what you're looking for each and every time. Chapo was a big part of what happened in the victory that SSG did see. So I really want to see if Chapo can kind of continue that reign of dominance and be as aggressive as he was before.
And that's something you could do too, is it just depends on how well this team is able to decide who's making their calls, right? I always describe this Space Station unit as a team that if plan A works, they look really hard to beat. If that thing they try that first time works. But as soon as they have to almost move into the improv part of it, where they have to kind of move on the fly, and I imagine that's communication is what's critical in those moments, that's when they can look a little bit more vulnerable. Are we all moving towards FG the second we win a fight? Are we all backing and then coming back in the second that we win? That stuff, it feels like, is not always is there.
Yeah, we've seen a little bit of communication breakdown for sure, so hopefully they can clean it up.
And they're going to have to. Armada's a team that will definitely expose them if there's any weakness. Let's go into picks and bans then for game number 2, technically. Again, if you are just now joining us, Space Station unfortunately had to forfeit that very first game. So we start this one in media res, is an expression, obviously, from literature.
Yeah.
Armada will be the first pick here.
I like that right there.
Yeah.
So the first pick and the first ban, of course. NotGeno coming right off the top. It's going to be one of the stronger picks that we've seen around. And so, what's that?
I'm embarrassed I said it.
Why?
It's a good. I know it's right. Everyone just says I'm too pretentious when I talk. I didn't mean it.
I love your lexicon. I don't know, man.
Sure.
Let people look from the outside in, and it is what it is.
Well, Daja and Erlug Shin banned out, as well as the Merlin Shibalanke. These are the kind of bans we expect, which means Achilles could very well be that top priority now in a world where Shibalanke and Merlin are already banned, and again, where King Arthur can't be picked just yet. He's up there near the top. Bellona comes to mind as well. Even Jormungandr has been prioritized. Any of those things could be a strong pick for Baskin to take.
But it's Baskin, so he can pick anything, and it'll be a strong pick. So
That's true.
Amaterasu, first and foremost, can be in the support role, can be in that solo lane. I don't think we've ever seen it successfully pulled off in jungle, so I expect this to be for Baskin, but keep your mind open. It could wind up being SoloOrTrolls.
You know, in most games, you equip gear to make your player stronger. I think that gods equip Baskin to make them stronger.
Honestly.
You know what I mean? And really, it's how much of a joke is it even? There are times where he makes stuff look good that he didn't always know was good. Though Ama certainly can be a strong pick, and he could even still be something that could potentially be going over to the support role for Geno as well. This could be a bit of a flex to start off, as Jormungandr, Freya are locked in for SSG.
Armada here. They've got 2 more selections, and to answer back with Jormungandr and Freya, I definitely want characters that can kind of keep players at a bay, because Jormungandr and Freya are both going to kind of jump over that front line, so
Sure.
I want characters that can escape, like a Hachiman, for example.
It certainly is safe, almost Jingwei levels of safe is what he can do. And in fact, it's almost curious, so often we see Jingwei picked into the Freya because of how well she can escape the banish. But Hachiman's certainly still safe, capable of boxing and even potentially bullying this Freya, depending on if he can get a bit of a lead. And it's also a Snoopy, so I trust whatever pick he takes.
Exactly. You know, Snoopy can certainly play things at a high level, but across the way we see a high level as well. So Ullr going to be selected, very execution-heavy character, but a character that we've actually seen a decent amount of lately as well. So.
Yeah, we have been seeing a little bit more Ullr. I think there's been a little bit more value been placed on being able to grab some of that early pressure here lately, even though it can be tough sometimes to do some of those late game objectives. Much easier if you can get yourselves ahead. Plus, we've been seeing it time and time again, just double auto attackers can be very strong as well. Yeah. And that's what Freya Ullr can give you.
Couple of bands coming out here. SSG looking at some of the aggressive
Achilles made it
characters.
this whole way, huh?
Yeah. Achilles is certainly somebody that you got to ban out at this point, but we also have the Kamazats here, and then 2 more junglers from Armada. So everybody trying to keep the aggression at bay. Yeah. And keep your semi-globals to yourself, please.
Armada has put a lot of this attention onto Mask in particular. I think you could arguably say all 4 of those could be considered jungle buffs. Yep. And this is what I was thinking, that with those 2 auto attackers, just because Jorm was picked, Fafnir could certainly still be an option. So I'm surprised that Armada didn't turn towards it at all. Jormungandr goes solo, you can definitely still get a Guardian for support. The only question is, if we see the solo support start together, are those 2 Guardians together able to be enough that can stand up to some pressure potentially from like a Warrior and then a Guardian, or even a Warrior and an Assassin?
Depends on the Guardians. Again, I don't really like looking at the classes. I think that Ares clears very differently than Ymir. So, I mean, the pressure really depends on which character necessarily. But with that in mind, I think Awilix is certainly a power pressure character here for Armada. So, yeah, it's going to be a little bit scary.
And it is going to be the Awilix heading into the jungle. They got the Ganesha then, so Ama likely not going to be going all the way over to the support role as Kuang rounds it out. Now that can be some pressure if you can find yourselves some nice executes. Space Station have a lot to do if they want to take down Armada, though. Again, game 1 already done, a forfeit for Space Station, so we're moving right into game number 2. We'll get it over to Aggro and Toli.
Thank you, Finch and Tom. That's right, Armada already up 1-0 Space Station Gold, forfeiting game 1. So now already behind the 8 ball. As if you aren't already behind the 8 ball when you load in against Baskin and Snoopy and Geno and Meerkat and Homiefe today.
Let's not scream.
No scream. So that's a good start, especially when it's against Space Station Gold, and Space Station's Gold win condition is as following. Mask carry.
That's true.
That's the #1 way they win.
And he's playing the Kuang, so you know if anyone's going to be popping off, it better be Mask. I like it. paired up with Chapo's Ullr, a god that he can play aggressive with and also make highlight plays. And Homiefe subbing in for Scream. It's an interesting one. He's subbed in for Geno so far, Meerkat in the mid lane, and now a third role in the jungle position. His natural position, I would say, based off of his Season 3, Season 4, even some of Season 5 experiences.
That's right. Definitely the most experience there as red buff actually goes down. Don't know if Armada was able to get that in Homiefe. He was. Meerkat walking right up to it. SoloOrTroll there to make him pay a little bit. Chapo jumping in. Good dodge by Meerkat on that axe, but not going to be able to dodge the hail of arrows. Oswaald, SoloOrTroll, and Chapo able to combine to get 2 of 3, though I believe the big creep went the way of Armada.
That's right. Still getting the better end of it, getting the red buff and the bigger mid camp. Now Chapo trying to do what he can. Poking out Meerkat. Not a bad idea, knowing that his potions are just starting to whittle away. You could poke him out. You're going to disrupt his flow of his back timing, so that way he might have to back before boots too, and that's not what you want to do as a mid player.
Oswaald dead. Snoopy able to find him, and that ability to start all alone in the duo lane lets Snoopy hit level 2, which sets him up for an easy EI Jutsu stun. Oswaald, because they lost the red buff, ends up only being level 1. I imagine that if he hits that red, that's enough to get him level 2 and maybe gets him a whoop so that he can survive. But now it's worst case scenario for Oswaald. Not only did he die, but he lost his beads at the same time.
That's a big problem for a Freya. You cannot fall behind as a Freya. You're going to start getting abused by hunters that are going to be rushing what should be the Devo gloves, but it's not going to be the case today for Snoopy as he's going for some magical defense. It's probably the runic shield if I were to take a gander.
Yeah, you know what? It looks really weird, but I like it too.
I like it.
Because if Mask was playing Thor, I would hate it. But he isn't. He's playing Kuang. And so he's going to be on top of you. He's going to be ganking you in the duo lane. I like it a lot. Don't like this for Chapo as he loses almost all of his HP. Geno with the easy setup there on the, just the Poseidon Whirlpool, guaranteed damage.
Chapo has like no fear in his eyes. He still hold on to the beats the whole time. He's like, yeah, I'm not going to die to these couple of abilities. Okay, yeah, Ganesh dash, Ganesh turn of fate. Yeah, Poseidon damage level 3 red buff. I got this. I'll survive.
Not a problem. He's able to survive, but loses a lot of his potions, though he should be heading back to base pretty soon, unless he's going to try and greed it up and stay for full Transcendence. You see that a lot, but most of the time, backing for Tier 2 of boots is the right call at a competitive level, just because every little power spike is so important. Baskin getting bullied a bit by Uzzy over here. Mask is close by, but blue buff still going down for Baskin. We talked about Homie subbing in, but again, SoloOrTroll comes in and fills in for Matty Pocket in the support role. Solo played pretty well for himself last week, I would say, but still not enough to find that victory.
I think it was Erlong's support that he played that last week. A good use of his aggressiveness. His play style certainly showed in that support role, transitioning from the solo lane. But now in a Fafnir, a little bit more different. Much more utility-based, much more supporty-esque than in terms of carry potential, as opposed to the Erlong.
Great hammer there from SoloOrTroll, forces Homiefe to use the purification beads, and that's exactly what Master wants to see right as he hits level 5. Homie now very, very vulnerable to that ultimate potentially coming from Mast. Armada had the first blood onto Oswaald, but since then Spacestation Gold has stemmed the bleeding a little bit. Even that 500 gold bounty, not really noticeable on the gold department at all. In fact, it's Spacestation Gold with the ever so slight lead in gold.
It's just a small sacrifice when you're giving up a kill at the 1 to 2 minute mark. You're going to need to be able to do more than that to really establish a lead. Spacestation Gold getting 3 of the Totem of Coups, and that's where the difference is. That 375 gold, because you get 125 gold every single minute. And Uzzy up against Baskin, the Jormungandr versus the Amaterasu matchup. Not a very common matchup, but it's actually the runic shield for Baskin completed in the same sense where Snoopy is worried about ganks from Mask, as is Baskin.
Yeah, I don't mind this runic shield. I think it's especially good against Jormungandr because so much of his damage comes from auto attacks, and by reducing his power, you reduce a lot of it with those auto attacks. As SoloOrTroll knocked up, Kraken comes next, Shell is there, but knock up not quite enough. Homiefe didn't pull the trigger on the gravity surge, and so SoloOrTroll is out. Geno might not get that same luxury. Good Shell will make it sure that he is able to escape. But that should have been a kill on the SoloOrTroll there, Tolly, but a good Shell from the native solo laner turned support sub ends up saving his life.
Homiefe being a little too conservative not using that ultimate. Like, I get it. Okay, you're already investing a Kraken. You figure that should be enough damage to kill a level 4 Fafnir that's not that tanky yet in the game. Only 5.5 minutes in. But honestly, you're not going to get a kill in the next 90 seconds or so anyway. You might as well invest that ultimate to guarantee it, because even if you do find another knockup within that middle engagement and you find a pull, you're already on cooldowns from everything you have invested onto this Fafnir, so there's no secondary kill follow-up.
Yeah, I mean, I think he was trying to just rely on the Moonlit charge to finish it off at a range, but that Fafnir jump's pretty long.
Oh yeah, and fast.
So SoloOrTroll's able to get out just in time. Meerkat only had boots 2 at the time, so ends up going not their way as Snoopy and Oswaald boxing it out on this left-hand side. That's an absolute win for Snoopy. Not really under that much pressure there. Was Oswaald really that close to getting solo?
I don't think that he was going to die, but it might have put Snoopy under a low health threshold.
Love that play from Geno. Silence setup on a SoloOrTroll and then drops the ultimate right where that gravity surge is going to come in. But here comes Uzzy on the rotation. 3-man knockup in the jungle. Kraken is great though from Meerkat. That erases Chapo. Geno doesn't get executed either. And now Mass is going to be the next one out for Spacestation Gold. Meerkat falls to Uzzy's rotation. Geno needs to dodge the spit, but won't need to worry about it because Homie's cleaning up for the double kill. Armada turned that fight on its head after a great initiation from Uzzy.
A great 3-for-1. Honestly, Meerkat didn't even need to die there. He used a basic attack, slowing his own movement speed, allowing the third World Serpent Strike to connect. But still, can't be mad about it. Gonna be able to get 3 of those kills. Nice stun from Chapo coming back from Fountain.
Did he get the speed buff? That's the question. He did. Worth it. Setting Mask behind, taking his speed buff. That's the kind of stuff Baskin lives for.
Oh yeah, if he can tilt you, he'll do it.
Easily.
The most passive-aggressive player.
Loves those moments. Able to steal away the speed. Does cost him his life, and certainly a good boon for Chapo to get himself on the board. But man, it's a great rotation from Uzzy. Everything goes well for Spacestation Gold until Meerkat's a massive Kraken on that bottom left.
That was huge. And that was only at what, level 6, maybe 7? Poseidon that had boots 3, only tier 1 version of that spear.
It's only more damage to come. Oswaald loses his ultimate again. This time with pressure from Homiefe. Right as Purple Buff spawns as well, so this is a good opportunity to get an invade in, but Mask is on the way.
Snoopy's mounted archery coming up within the next 15 seconds or so. A lot of kill potential on this left side.
Homie actually going to jump towards Oswaald. He feather stepped him as well. He's looking to commit for the kill. No, there's the feather step, and he does find it. But now Snoopy's got to get on the run. Luckily, he's got a horse who does that pretty well. Geno drops the Dharmic Pillars just as insurance. But it's a 1-for-1. That's absolutely in favor of Spacestation Gold, though, because totally Homie was 5-0. Before that kill happened. That's a huge shutdown bonus for Oswaald.
That is a huge shutdown, but he's not going to get this next wave, right, where Snoopy is. So there's going to be that 1-level advantage. This does, however, allow Mask to play a little bit of a catch-up on the Kuang, and that's not something you necessarily want when an Kuang is going to get into that mid to late game safely. But you could only choose, if you could only choose one between a Freya or an Kuang of who to gank and kill, I'd probably prefer the Freya.
Yeah, Kuang's going to get his eventually anyways. Freya, I still think her strongest point is in the mid game right now, so I think that makes some sense. Great poke on a Mass from Baskin. Now Mass trying to turn it around. Dazzling offensive used by Baskin, but he's getting low anyways. Kraken right there. SoloOrTroll silenced so that he can't transform. Uzzy, meanwhile, trying to clean up Baskin, but just can't do so. As now Meerkat's in a world of trouble because the World Serpent is hunting him. Good juke on that second shot. Third one juked as well, but now where does he go? Body blocked nicely by Uzzy. Geno already killed by Mask, and Uzzy gets one for himself. That Jormungandr big body ends up paying off.
This is where your lead is starting to play you. Baskin invades the speed buff, dies for it the first time. Second time, now he baits his team out. Baskin survives, but Meerkat and Geno not as fortunate.
Not fortunate there for Homiefe. He gets 1v1 by Oswaald. Now Chapo looking for Snoopy, but this is a Hunter 1v1 that Snoopy feels pretty comfortable to take. He's got a 3-level lead, totally. That's easy for the kid.
I don't know about that one. Chapo was definitely banking on his teammates to be there a little bit closer, but you gotta take every calculation to the T. If they're not there immediately to follow up, Snoopy doesn't need that much time to find the kill with that 3-level lead. Even not having the most physical power in the world by having Runic Shield, which doesn't do anything in the 1v1 against Chapo, is still enough to find the solo kill with the mounted archery up.
Still a bit of health, though. I mean, you get some
Base
power.
stats, yeah.
It's not the passive certainly doesn't do a whole lot, but I think the base stats from the item and from the character being up 3 levels are enough. As Snoopy now waiting to see if he can get the jump on Oswaald. 2 runic shields on the side of Armada. It was not an MG as they're going to start up this Gold Fury, and I don't think anyone's going to be able to get in range in time. Just very little ward coverage here for Spacestation Gold. They have 1 ward on the left side of the map on top left mids. That's just not enough information.
And that's also their defensive side, so they're not going to be able to see whoever is rotating from the middle to the left side of the map. A good advantage for Armada to exploit that factor, and they have that map, or that side of the map, completely lit up like a Christmas tree.
Meerkat has some pen completed now, so these attempts onto SoloOrTroll's life probably going to turn out to be a little bit more successful. At least until Solo gets some more magical defense. Looks like it's probably going to be a Gauntlet of Thebes for him. Next up, Shield of Regrowth, Fafnir, really just more for fun than anything else. Kraken already used as SoloOrTroll uses his ultimate to immune it. Red buff secured though by Snoopy. And they trade ult for ult, but Armada get the buff.
Could be a Stone of Gaia maybe, even for him. Baskin caught alone, forced to use that ultimate defensively. Stunning out Chapo. Whirlpool going to force out the feeds as Oswaald picks up Chino on the side.
And then a beautiful hail of arrows gets Baskin as well. Mask continues the dive and gets Meerkat. Eats him up for lunch. Space Station Gold. Totally, they're doing it. They're up 9-7 in kills. A little bit in gold, not a lot, but they've got a pretty good late game draft here with the Fafnir and the Kuang. They've looked good so far. Now they're in the gold and XP lead.
Oh yeah, their draft late game is super scary with 4 magical damage dealers, only Chapo the physical. It could work if they can keep the pressure like this. Magical defense is only going to get you so far against such hyper damage late game. Kuang and Freya is so scary, especially accelerated by the Fafnir Coerce. I'm expecting him to also pick up a Shogun's Kusari to amplify it even further.
Snoopy and Oswaald again going at it on this left-hand side. Looks like Oswald's a bit outside that Runic Shield range, and he's taking advantage of that as Space Station Gold elsewhere on the map secured the Pyromancer. That was just Uzzy and Mask who got that done. Speaking of getting something done, Homie able to kill Chapo with some ease. Homie, I was about to say, has been fairly quiet after that 5-0 start. Now getting himself back on the right track, and that opens up the mid tower for Armada.
It's unfortunate for Chapo. He had to use his speeds earlier against the Whirlpool out of Meerkat after the initial stun from Baskin's ultimate. So when you get isolated against an Awilix with no beads as an Ullr, you have nowhere to go. The only real out that you have is getting out of combat and blinking away.
Yeah, now you've got the blink though for Chapo, and I don't love it against the Poseidon.
Yeah, I was about to say,
And
not
the
having
Ama.
Aegis.
That's pretty risky. Baskin looking to keep this chase going on to Mask. Chapo respawns and is gifted a kill. Baskin really trying to hunt down Space Station Gold's jungler. 0-3 so far for the Amaterasu, who has Jotun's Wrath.
I mean, if you're going for cooldown reduction, there's better options, but if you're going for damage, this is the only option between min-maxing the damage. You can also, I guess, go for like Transcendence or Hydra's Lament, but those are not your typical go-tos for Amaterasu. This is a very unique build by Baskin.
Oh, he's going more damage now.
Hard to question him based
Yeah,
off of
you know,
his
I
experience.
think after chasing into the mid-Phoenix, the only thing that I would think is, well, if I had more damage, I would have gotten him.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
You know, that's the only reason. So that's that seems to be the thought process here for Baskin, who also picks up a blink. Yeah, this is kind of Christmas Day. No, that's not, because I know Christmas Day's coming. If I'm Meerkat in this game, this is kind of like finding $20 in some pants I haven't worn in a while. Because I'm like, oh, this game was going okay, but now my day is even better because now I know that anytime I Whirlpool Chapo, he dies.
Yeah.
From here on out, pretty much. I mean, unless he gets shelled by SoloOrTroll, he's pretty dead to those Krakens, so Chapo needs to be very wary of where Meerkat is at all times. Even just the Whirlpool alone might be enough these days. But I mean, Beads probably doesn't even let him live unless he's already in axe stance. I don't even think Beads saves him.
Is Meerkat finding this $20 before or after he already washed the pants? How lucky is he?
It probably got washed, but it was a long time ago, and you can't really tell anymore. You know, like all money's been through the laundry machine. I mean, that's how it goes.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like you can't even tell. It's just like money.
Yeah,
Just $20.
whether it's literal or metaphorically, it's all laundered.
Yeah, it's. Thank you, Toli, for being on my side of the argument. No one else needs to know what we're talking about, though. That's okay by me. Snoopy has gone for more traditional ADC after the Runic Shield pickup into the Aussie. From here, I imagine you need some more pen, though I guess you could go straight into Chin Size if you were really trying to kill SoloOrTroll in particular with all the health that he has from this Gauntlet of Thieves, but I feel like Executioner's the most likely setup next.
You might as well go Titan's Bane, honestly, at this point. Get like flat % before even applying the basic attacks. Because his ability damage is pretty high anyway from the mounted archery, and if you want to hit the backline, which he probably would want to do against Oswaald and Mask, then that would probably be his biggest burst of damage in this upcoming fight.
First damage down to Oswaald is a beautiful knock-up. Aegis was necessary for Oswaald, but this Valkyrie's discretion is just delaying the inevitable. No more ultimates necessary. Snoopy's able to get that one. Beautiful initiation there by Homie on that left-hand side, as it only costs them a blink in order to get everything away from Oswaald. Ultimate, relics, life.
Yeah, it's the trifecta. The beads, the Aegis, the ultimate, not enough to save his life. And you just can't be that far out of position under the middle of the dueling tower 17 minutes in with no vision.
Homie pretty far forward on the top side. He lost his Purification Beads, and now Mask going for him. Doesn't even need the execute. The 2-3 does the job, as Meerkat now being chased by Uzzy in the jungle. Chapo doesn't have the blink. He used it to pretty good effect on that top side. As all of Armada starting to back it up. They lost their jungler. And Mask still plenty healthy. Is that a hasten ring that he has? I believe that is.
Oh, look at that. Going for ring's not that bad of an idea, but I would love to see the hasten ring in place of boots. Like, if you're going to go for hasten ring, don't even bother picking up boots.
Frenzy used by Spacestation Gold, and Mask gets insta-killed right as his beads go off. Never had a chance to use the water illusion. Uzzy now in some trouble as Snoopy is in the back line, and no one's really looking at him. In fact, he's going to EI Jutsu aggressively, and now a good Aegis lets him reposition momentarily. Baskin's damage finds a home onto Uzzy this time around. That Jotun's Wrath putting in good work, as the burn was attempted by Spacestation Gold, and Geno really threw up the walls physically, literally, figuratively. I mean, he did it all with those Dharmic Pillars.
Unfortunately for Space Station, they didn't wait for Oswaald to come back from the fountain. That would have been a nice 5-on-4 power play, but with Oswaald still rotating, still a 4-on-4. So Armada were not worried about taking that fight. A great dive from Baskin in the backline. Finds out Uzzy, eliminates his life. Gold Fury, though, still up, or rather the Oni Fury still up. So I think Armada had a window to go for it. Still can with a Kraken available out of Meerkat.
Leaves the red buff for Snoopy, probably a good call. 4 levels his senior, level 17. Meerkat has been behind in XP since dying pretty early on a couple times. Also been sharing a lot of waves, but
I don't know about that play. It's the world champion Meerkat. You gotta give him the red buff.
Yeah, I suppose you're right. Oni Fury getting absolutely crushed. Armada insta-kill the objective. As soon as Snoopy gets that Executioner, they go straight to it. And don't forget, Turn of Fate, really good at helping you burn objectives. I'm glad we're seeing a lot more Ganesh play as of late, because players have made it look really good. Jeff Hinla had a great set on it for Space Station Gold, though we don't talk about that set as a whole. I mean, Geno has been playing it a lot. I mean, that was all him that last fight. He insta-killed Mask with that ultimate placement. We see the versatility of the pick as well.
That's right, 2% damage amplification per ally god that's near you, so not too bad in getting those stacks up. And Snoopy still boxing with Oswaald. Can't win that trick this time, forced to use that ultimate defensively. A lot of damage coming out through that Telekine's Demonic Grip combo.
Knowing he doesn't have Aegis, if Snoopy takes 2 more autos, he's dead to Valkyrie's discretion from that range, so certainly early enough on that trigger. As Pyromancer now pulled by Armada, secured by Armada. Nice silence there by Geno to make sure that it goes their way. Geno has played very well so far this game. A little bit lower in damage than SoloOrTroll, but I think Solo's had a great game as well. 0, 1, and 7 for a non-support native is impressive. What's
not impressive is that Geno has no kills. How do you do that on Ganesh? I don't get it.
Come on, man. I mean, it's 20 minutes in.
He's not a single kill on Ganesh.
How do you not get that last hit?
It's really impressive. You gotta be trying not to get it.
Seriously, man. So easy. I have a Diamond Ganesh, and I've got 40,000 kills. Did you know that?
Dude, you're a god.
That's right. Watch out. I actually don't have a Diamond Ganesh. I lied to you. I felt guilty about it already. I didn't lie about the 40,000 kills, though. That's for real. 100%.
On Ganesh?
Yep.
Wait. How do you have 40,000 kills and not have a Diamond Ganesh, though?
Because I average 10,000 kills a game. I have
that is
4
some
games.
long game.
I have 4 games on Ganesh.
How long does a game have to be to get 10,000 kills?
Long enough. Sick blink from Baskin as Armada try and burn this Fire Giant. An early commit. It's getting lower. Mass silence and knocked up, and Armada going to secure it with the use of that Kraken, but here comes Spacestation Gold. Oswaald not here. He's coming back from base. Is Chapo trying to handle Homiefe and doing a pretty good job. Geno, the first one out, though, courtesy of Mass Execute, and he's going to turn and burn onto Homiefe. Armada get the Fire Giant, but they're losing the fight pretty handily. Uzzy getting low, but not low enough as Baskin's Crusher Void Shield combo certainly did a lot to that Fire Giant, but not enough to the enemy gods. Spacestation Gold now have a great opportunity to recoup some gold and get themselves in the lead.
Great recognition from Spacestation Gold. Without the Kraken, that fight becomes a lot easier. Not only that, Uzzy's Frenzy allows the aggression from Spacestation Gold's damage to be a little bit more useful. Just really starts exploiting out Homiefe and Geno that was too far invested into that Fire Giant pit.
Mounted archery, just a poke, alongside Heavenly Banner. Chapo actually used the Purification Beads as well. I believe Meerkat dropped a Whirlpool over the wall that incentivized that, as Space Station wanted to get the mid-Phoenix, but you can't always get what you want. So they're sent packing, though they do get 2,000 gold across the team between Tier 1 and Tier 2. I'd say that's a win so far for Space Station Gold on that Fire Giant objective. It's just a matter of what Snoopy and Baskin and Meerkat can do with this Fire Giant.
I think they could do a lot. It isn't the enhanced Fire Giant, sure, but you could still wait alongside your minions for the next 2.5 to 3 minutes to be able to get the last couple of towers between 3 Tier 2s and the last remaining Tier 1 in the duel lane. That's 5,000 gold collectively that Armada can start bringing.
Meerkat lurking, but Space Station Gold sniffed it out. Ultimate Force on this right-hand side as Baskin continues to push, but the rest of Armada on this left-hand side. Now Oswaald trapped in the ring, knocked up. Gravity Surge was used, but beads were there from Oswaald as well, as Baskin now chasing down Chapo. No Aegis for him, but he's able to escape anyways. There's not enough damage in Baskin's build. That must be the problem.
Tier 2 tower going to go down as well. Looking for the middle Phoenix. This is a good opportunity because Meerkat still has his ultimate.
Geno going to be the first one in. Watch out for that Kraken. Meerkat has to be careful, though, because that Frenzy's popped and Uzzy's doing plenty of damage. Baskin down, Homiefe down. Both end up dying. Uzzy and Mask split those kills one apiece as Mask continues the fight onto Meerkat. Great turn. Kraken actually kills Mask at a better shell. Keeps him alive from that hail of arrows.
Blink.
Chapo can't quite find the axe, but SoloOrTroll can find the hammer. And the rest of Armada still on the run.
Chapo hits the hail of arrows, and he's not done yet. He wants blood. He got one, but that does not satisfy him. Good whoop from Oswaald. Geno now between a rock and a hard place. He's going to go down, and it's only Snoopy defending against 4 Space Station members. It's definitely a middle Phoenix here, Aggro, but is that the game?
I don't know. I mean, SoloOrTroll is in that Draconic Corruption, but 10 seconds on Homiefe. The fact that Mask is dead is huge. Meerkat may have saved the game here for Armada, but Space Station is going for the Titan. Is this going to be an upset potential here onto Armada again? Space Station might have it. Titan down to half HP, but Snoopy going to take care of Uzzy. Titan getting even lower as Snoopy gets the double kill, but Space Station Gold cannot end the game on a sliver of HP. Space Station get decided, and now Armada needs to surge forward, and they have to keep aware of where Mask is at all times, because he could walk in and end the game by himself.
This is really scary. That Titan is dangerously low. I don't expect Mass to try to overextend because he has to play defense in his own right. But then again, Armada has to travel really far from their own base to even make a dent inside the infrastructure from Space Station. They might be able to get that middle Phoenix with SoloOrTroll coming up in 12 seconds. Even backing a little bit delayed is Masked.
Baskin's on the right-hand side, and he's a lot of their objective tanking and potential damage. Homie does have Gravity Surge, but hasn't used it to try and burn. Doesn't need to. Mid Phoenix down. That's a sigh of relief for Armada because now they have their own fire minions pushing up against those from Space Station Gold. But this is where it gets really awkward, Tolly. I mean, they have to take a fight outside of the Titan room. I mean, Uzzy might be able to just ult in and end the game.
That is true, but you're not going to be able to do damage there because somebody needs to be tanking it. So if Uzzy's the one damaging it, who goes in? Masked has Blink, as does Chapo. Maybe a double Blinks from like the sides, and you're coordinating that alongside the World Serpent. You got Freya Valkyrie's Discretion making her untargetable during that ultimate. But Space Station Gold, they're posturing, expecting something to happen around this fire giant.
It's going to be them pulling it. This will help them end the game. Well, yeah, look at where Armada's posturing. I mean, they know they can't afford to go and really face check this fire giant because if Space Station's in the left side jungle and they sneak past them, then it's game over. So they concede the fire giant. But again, there needs to be a fight outside of the Phoenix area. And it might happen onto Homiefe right here. Mask blinking in, looking for Homie, but Mask's gonna get silenced. Mask has to use the purification beads, and Baskin's gonna be able to chase him down. That may have just neutered Space Station Gold's chances. Mask just goes way too far forward.
Yeah, I don't know about that play. Against all 5 members, no one else from Space Station Gold was even close enough to follow that one up. And with purification beads, no Aegis, that allows Baskin to use that mobility to get the confirmed kill. Great slow from Geno using the Dharmic Pillars to guarantee that kill.
If you're on Space Station Gold, I feel like I'd almost just sit in the right jungle or the left jungle, whichever one you think is less likely to be warded. And I would just wait until I see multiple members of Armada on the map, and I think I would just rush it. I mean, totally, it can't have more than 2.5, 3K health,
something like that. But
I mean, if they see you here on this ward by speed buff, do they even get back in time to shove you out of the room? I don't think so. I think that you could just walk in and end.
But where are you going to be hiding? Generally speaking, it's got to be between the back camps and the speed camp, or versus between the red and the purple buff. And by the time you see anyone, by the time you make a move, whether it's left or right, will eventually walk over one of Armada's wards, and you will be spotted, and there will be ample time to make that back happen.
Now they're going to try and get a tier 2, make it that much easier if they do decide to go for it, but they're running out of time. As soon as that mid Phoenix respawns for Armada, that Titan will begin the healing process. It isn't just time that it needs, it's all of its friends around it. Support your friends. It helps them heal.
Everyone needs the support in their life, that's for sure. You can't get away with all carries.
No, you cannot. Mid Phoenix going to be pretty weak at this point, however. SoloOrTroll has that ultimate ready to go, as does Uzzy's Frenzy, which could be a big deal. Snoopy actually too far forward. He eats the axe and needs to use the purification beads, and Meerkat's Kraken leaves a bit to be desired, as Chapo didn't need to use the beads at all. A little bit outside of the range. Now this siege looks quite appetizing for Space Station Gold.
Healing from the back camps, Chapo coming back in. Remember, Snoopy did use those beads earlier. He could be the easy target. Blink is available for Mast if he wants to try again. Stun a little bit off the mark from Chapo, but he's still just trying to keep up the poke. And if even Armada were to fire back with any sort of poke, that Fire Giant sustain is going to favor Space Station.
Mast not having fire is a big deal because he's the one splitting on that left-hand side and might have needed that extra objective damage. Baskin there to check him. There's the frenzy and the blink, or the jump in rather from SoloOrTroll. Uzzy begins to channel that World Serpent, but look at how much damage Mast and Chapo have taken on the backside. Baskin does quite a bit, and SoloOrTroll pulled back in by Homiefe as Oswaald drops that Valkyrie's Discretion, try and return some damage, but Armada still looking healthy enough. He can't say the same for Uzzy. Snoopy takes care of him, and here comes the surge forward from Armada. They charged out Mask. He has to use the beads. Kraken, not quite enough, but Snoopy finds his 7th in a row in order to kill SoloOrTroll. And the mid Phoenix stands strong, mask down to Homiefe. Armada with a staunch defense on the Phoenix.
Baskin up against Oswaald. Oswaald can never outrun Baskin, and Baskin actually wants to keep Oswaald here. He doesn't want the Freya to play defense. I like this.
Just, yeah, here to play ring around the rosy. Chapo coming in from the side. Very, very risky for him as he's got no relics left. He does get Geno, jumps away, eats a gravity surge, and that'll be it for him. 14 seconds left on Uzzy, mid-wave coming in. This one might be close. Baskin has lost track of Oswaald for a moment. He might have a path back. Let's see if Spacestation could do to Armada what they just did to them. Titan down to about 50% as Uzzy respawns. Titan actually kills Meerkat a little bit too early, and now the Titan is getting leashed. Snoopy has to back it up, and here's the full damage. Amaterasu, Baskin trying to end it, but cannot. Oswaald with the double kill, and the Titans have done all the work for both teams. This might be it. I mean, Geno's coming up.
This could be. This very well could be. It is a weakened middle Phoenix. Geno up in 10 seconds, a 2 on 4. By the time Chapo revives,
I don't think they can end.
yeah, because Chapo has to spend so much time coming back into the mid lane. He's not going to get there in time for the siege. 4 on 2 should favor out Armada. Dharmic Pillars controls plenty of space, and it's going to make it awkward to enter that throne room.
Geno's here. 12 seconds left on Meerkat. This looks like a mid-Phoenix, but it seems a bit ambitious as Dharmic Pillars come out. Frenzy there by Uzzy as well, but they're not focusing on the Phoenix a whole lot. In fact, they're having a lot of trouble killing it. I think that Dharmic Pillar actually body blocked away Oswaald and made it impossible for him to kill. Mid-Phoenix still not down, and finally they get it, but it costs them Valkyrie's Discretion, it costs them the World Serpent, and with Meerkat and Homie and Baskin all back up now, it's time to see if Armada can sneak around and just end up ending the game.
I think they could. They have the mobility from Baskin's Amaterasu aura. Plenty of damage coming out of him. I almost made a joke saying, I'm like, oh, maybe he should have built more damage to confirm that kill. But actually selling off his Talaria boots to finish off the Genji's guard for additional cooldown reduction, more MP5 to spam that aura stance switch ability. But now, with Enhanced Fire Giant, I think Armada is going to get the 2-0 here today, Aggro.
I don't know, Totally. I mean, Spacestation had an Enhanced Fire Giant before. Kraken will secure it as some members from Spacestation Gold started surging forward. Mask wants it, but is going to give it up, at least momentarily. Uzzy flanking on the left-hand side. No ultimate for him, but he's going to get a solid slow onto multiple different members. Geno does have the sprint ready, but they'll just use Baskin's mobility in order to get themselves out of danger. This is, I mean, Spacestation Gold had an even weaker Titan to go and kill with an Enhanced Fire Giant. They didn't win then, so I'm not ready to put this one in the books yet.
Yeah, they can't actually leave their face whatsoever. They're about to lose their left side tier 2 tower to minions as Baskin is split pushing in the mid lane, making sure that their fire minions will supersede Space Station's fire minions. A lot of damage coming from Mask, finishing off that Rod of Tahuti, just popping his 500 gold potion. He's definitely a scary player now on the late game Kuang.
What a game from Snoopy, though. I mean, 7-0-8, top of the player damage charts by a considerable margin. No one even close to him. He gets the first blood set up onto Oswaald. This game has really revolved. I mean, Baskin's had a game, you could say. It really, for me, it's been the dual lane of Armada that has really carried them in this one.
Wouldn't expect anything less than young man Evan Jones playing the Hachiman, a guy that can still play safe and aggressive at the same time, and Armada looking to play anything but safe as they're kind of poking and prodding around where Space Station's Middle Phoenix used to stand.
Left side tier 2 still up. Baskin is...
Are you thinking what I'm thinking, Aggro?
Thinking about going for the end.
He's doing it. He's
gonna find Mask.
The bait. I love it. I love it.
There's the frenzy, though, as they start charging in. Look at Meerkat just beelining towards the Titan, but he gets insta-killed, but the Titan does not reset. And Armada finally able to take down the final boss of the Titan. 21-22. Space Station Gold actually with the lead in kills, but Armada take the set 2-0 again with Space Station Gold forfeiting game 1. One that really Space Station should have won. Mask just kind of inting in the mid lane when they've got the Titan at 5 HP, just ends up really killing their momentum.
Too ambitious. They didn't even try a sneaky strategy. They tried to brute force their way into the mid lane, whereas you can see how Armada were a little sneaky about it. They kind of baited out Baskin there.
A little bit, yeah. Just pulled Mask away, and Meerkat just decided he was done. with this one. He was walking right into the Titan room. We're done casting this one, but we still have the deaths to break down this set.
Wow, what a back and forth game that was. And if you are just joining us, that also ends the set, by the way, because again, Spacestation had to forfeit game number 1, so Armada cleaned up in game number 2. But it was anything but easy there, F. I mean, they are Armada push in and almost get the Titan, and then SSG push in and almost get the Titan, and it's back and forth, and eventually Armada grab it. I mean, what'd you see? What stood out for you that let Armada win that game?
I mean, really, it was funny. I love how Aggro illustrated it. Said the Titans did all the work, and honestly, they did a lot of the hard work as everybody kind of gets chased out. But realistically, I think the difference here was just grouping up and making the team decision. You saw Space Station Gold kind of go in haphazardly, one player here, one player there, whereas when Armada finally push, it's all in, everybody together.
I also wonder about the final fire giant of the game there that Space Station do instead of trying to force past even before the mid-Phoenix respawns and just fighting on the Titan, on the enemy Titan, and see maybe they can bring it down. You heard Totally talk about that a little bit towards the end, that maybe they shouldn't have waited and just done another Phoenix Siege the old-fashioned way. That Titan was so low, they might have had a chance. I mean, there were so many small things that turned this around. Chapo died when they were defending their own Phoenix way later than everyone else, so when Space Station re-pushed to take the Phoenix, they didn't have their physical hunter, and that was way slower. I mean, it was just a bunch of small things that eventually added up, and Armada grabbed the win.
Homie's Ullr certainly came in through in the clutch, keeping elchapo kind of under control. 7-5-7, so maybe under control is debatable. But Homiefe certainly made sure that Chapo wasn't going to be jumping anywhere outwards. So a nice look there from the mid laner for sure.
And man, that Titan push where it lives with a sliver of HP, I feel like that one's going to just haunt Space Station. They had a chance to keep some of their momentum going off of their very first win by taking down Armada, at least in one game, and giving themselves a fighting chance in the set where they unfortunately had to lose that first game just because they weren't all able to be there for the match. So it's going to hurt them because they had such a good chance. I mean, this is what it feels like it's the storyline every week when we watch Space Station, is that they can walk up to the door and they can open it, but they can't walk through. Like, they're right there, and they just can't get that last final step they need.
Literally. I mean, they walked through the door this time. They just got pushed back out. I mean, this is quite literally, I feel you on that. Space Station Gold just seems to be 1 or 2 pieces short, and of course, maybe those pieces are the regular members of the squad, right? Don't forget, we are seeing some substitutes here, so something could be along there, but at the end of the day, Armada just looked like the stronger team. They
do, and I think that we would say that. Remember, Armada also, playing with Homie instead of Scream. Who knows, maybe the game's not as close. Though, to be fair, Homie played very well in that game. I don't think it hurts, but maybe that's the difference between an S+ and an S, right? Maybe that's it, is how close that game ended up being. But Armada are the ones that close it out 2-0 and continue to be up at the top here in North America. But we're absolutely not done yet. We still have one more NA SML game coming, so make sure you stick around. We'll be right back.